Hiya. So it's me again, and today we are going to be running it back with another ultimate guide. And today the subject is guild skills. The reason why I wanted to make this video in particular is personally I feel that guild skills are some of the most important skills in the game, and the activities that you do to acquire them don't take too long, considering that they are weeklies. So this is going to be a complete guide on how to obtain guild skills and how to level them up through flag and culvert. So I'm going to be doing a complete guide on flag and how to maximize your points there, and a little section on culvert, basically describing the basics of what culvert is and how to maximize your culvert for your guild. So the first question that we naturally begin to ask is, what are guild skills? Guild skills are stats and abilities that you gain for being an active member within a guild. There are two separate types of guild skills. There are basic guild skills, which mostly are passives that you gain when a guild levels up. The max level for a guild is level 30, and you gain a bunch of passive stats as a guild levels up. I'll have the stats posted here right now, but that is not the purpose of this video. What we're going to be focusing on today are Noblesse guild skills. Noblesse guild skills are active abilities that you can use that significantly increase your damage. Assuming that you are in the best guild in the game, you will get 30% critical damage, 30% ignore enemy defense, 30% boss damage, and 30% normal damage, which is damage against all targets. Now, in order to maximize these guild skills, you need to participate in two activities. These activities are flag and culvert. There is another separate way to increase your guild skills, your Noblesse guild skills, through weekly mission points, which is essentially just doing your dailies and bossing. But in this video specifically, I want to focus on flag and culvert and why they're so important. Now, Noblesse guild skills require no resources to actually use, and this is part of the reason why they're so powerful. You can use this ability as much as you want for the course of an entire week. Now, you might be asking, why an entire week? Doesn't that seem a little specific? That's because the Noblesse SP, or the amount of points that you get to put in the Noblesse abilities, are calculated on a weekly basis. So a guild needs to be constantly participating in culvert and flag to keep the uptime on their abilities. So if you want to keep track in terms of how your guild is doing for the weekly Noblesse guild skills, there's going to be the guild contents tab at the bottom left of the guild menu. And there you'll be greeted with the three activities that you should be doing on a weekly basis. So at the top there is the weekly mission points. So for every 5,000 monsters you kill or 40 boss points, you'll get one weekly mission point. And for every 20 weekly mission points, you gain 1 point in your Noblesse skills, and it caps out at 10. Under that, you'll be able to see your combined score for culvert. And in culvert, it takes your guild ranking in comparison to other guilds in terms of the total number of guilds. The distribution for how many points that you get in culvert, I will put on screen now so that you can see. Only the number one guild in the game will be able to max out all of their guild skills. Guilds in the top 10 will get very close to that number, and guilds that are below the top 10 will have usually 3 out of their 4 guild skills maxed, but the fourth one will only have a few points left in it. And at the bottom we have flag race. For flag race, every 1,000 points you get a Noblesse point into your guild skills for a cap of 10. So the weekly mission points and the flag race only make up 20 points of your weekly guild skills. Majority of the guild skills that most guilds get is from Culvert and Culvert alone. That is why it is super important to make sure that you're doing Culvert. So let me start talking about Culvert. What is Culvert? To put it in the most simple terms, it's beating up a big rock for 2 minutes. And you only have to do it once a week. Very simple. Now, it is a little more complicated than that. Because of how Culvert works, there are multiple enemies that you need to fight within Culvert, and depending on your class, you'll have a specific rotation that'll maximize your damage in Culvert to optimize your contributions to the guild. If you want to see your rotations, I suggest that you go look for the class discords, because I'm just going to be here explaining the basics and how to participate in Culvert. So when you go to the guild contents tab, you'll notice the green button for Culvert and you enter. There's going to be the first room, which is just a staircase, and you see the NPC there. When you talk to the NPC and actually enter the instance room in Culvert, all of your buffs will get removed. In that room, you will have 2 minutes to prepare before you actually go in to fight the rocks for 2 minutes. This is where you can pop all of your buffs and make your preparations. The only buffs that you can't use in Culverts are the Noblest guild skills themselves. So you could pop Monster Park Red and Green Potion, you can pop the Guild Blessing that you get every week, those purple little gift boxes, you can pop Ursus Buff, Legion's Might, list goes on, I'll put everything here. You can also prepare your Fatal Strike in that room because you can attack in that room. For my high level players, you'll know what Fatal Strike is. If you're a lower level, you won't need to worry about that as of yet. Now, when you actually do enter Culvert, there are 6 stages in Culvert. Stage 1 takes 10 points to complete. Stage 2 takes an extra 20 points to complete, so a total of 30 points. Stage 3 takes a total of 130 points. Stage 4, a total of 630. Stage 5, a total of 4130. And stage 6 is unkillable. And you'll see the amount of damage that you do in terms of stage 6, in terms of repetitions of completions of stage 5, which will be indicated by the amount of health bars that you cleared at the top left of the health bar. So depending on how much damage you do or where you are in the game is how you're going to rotate your burst around Culvert. Now, let's say that you're an early game player and you can only get to like stage 3 or 4, for example. You don't want to be popping your burst in stage 1 because then you'll be missing your burst. Every time you kill a stage, it'll take a few seconds for the next stage to spawn. So that's why you want to be popping your burst at the end or at the enemy that's the most difficult so that you won't be wasting any damage from your burst and maximizing it during the stage where you need it the most. So typically this is what a Culvert would look like. I'm going to have an example play for the next few minutes just so you can get an idea of how it plays out on a weekly basis. And that's pretty much it for Culvert. It's really straightforward. It's a very simple activity that only takes like 5 minutes every week. Even if you don't maximize your damage, I'm sure most guilds would be happy that you're at least contributing and doing your best to help maintain the Noblesse SP. Flag Race. Flag Race is something that's not as simple as Culvert because it takes precise inputs and understanding the mechanics of the game to basically finish a time trial within a specific amount of time to garner points for your guild. Now, you only need 10,000 overall to cap out on Flag Race, so it's not as stressful as Culvert is in terms of maximizing your damage and getting your guild to place within a specific number. But if you can do Flag Race faster and contribute more, you'll more consistently hit that cap, and a lot easier too. There are 3 courses that exist within Flag Race that rotate on a weekly basis. The first week is the Daylight Flag course. The second week is the Sunset Flag course. The third week is the Midnight Flag course. They always rotate in the same way, so Daylight is first, Sunset is second, Midnight is third, and rinse and repeat. So before I go over any of these specific courses, I want to go over some mechanics that you guys understand how some things are done so that we're not confused as we go over them. Now, in Flag Race, there are also 4 abilities that you can use to help decrease your times. There are stars that are scattered across each specific course that reduce the cooldowns of these skills. The skills in order is on A, your snowshoes. Snowshoes essentially increases your grip on the ice and allows you to accelerate to your max speed a lot faster. But with that grip also comes a disadvantage. From any boost or push that you get from obstacles on the course, you will not retain the increased speed if you have snowshoes equipped. So there are instances and times where you want to have snowshoes unequipped. The next ability is a dash. Very straightforward, sends you forward by a certain distance. The ability after that is on S, it's a jump. This jump has an increased height and is used to skip through obstacles on 2 of the 3 courses. The last ability is what we call Rally. Rally, if you run Flag Race in a party, increases the movement speed of your character and characters around you by a specific amount. But I suggest that you run Flag Race alone so that there are no distractions and so that your abilities remain consistent in terms of their usage. So the terrain on all of the Flag Race courses obviously uses ice. That's why one of the abilities is snowshoes so that you have grip when you move along the course. Now, the reason why it's actually better to have the snowshoes off sometimes is because one of the 2 mechanics that you use to gain faster times is what we call skating. After you take a boost, you don't even need to input a key and you'll see that your character will drift forward with the momentum that you gained from the boost. Another mechanic that we use is something that we call a short hop. So after a jump, the momentum that you gain from after the jump is something that you can use to jump again with a shorter distance. The reason why this is good is because there are staircases in Flag Race that punish you for moving too far forward. So you need to move forward by a specific amount of distance so that you can reach the end of the staircase without getting stopped by the staircase. If you get too close to the wall of a staircase, you'll have to move back and reapproach the staircase so that you can actually make the next jump. And that's why it's super important to learn how to short hop so that you don't hit that wall and have to readjust yourself again. This is a huge time saver, and I'd suggest that it's something you pick up and learn so that your Flag Race runs are a lot easier. So let me start by introducing the first course, the Daylight course. In order to get the maximum amount of points on the Daylight course, which is 1,000, you need a time of 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So when the race actually starts, you'll have 10 seconds to actually prepare yourself before the race starts. You want to take this time to make sure that you're standing right on the portal. So the moment that that timer hits 0, you're mashing your up key and you're actually participating in the race and not stuck in that box that they first put you in. So the daylight course will start with a small straight that has a small hill and 2 grooves in the floor. So once you press up on the portal and first enter the course, you want to make sure that you equip your snowshoes and press your dash instantly. The dash will get you right to the second half of the hill. Then you want to hold your jump key and the right key. When you do this, there is a chance that the hill will give you extra momentum off of that jump when you approach the grooves. Then just jump over the grooves. You don't want to fall into them because obviously you lose acceleration. After you jump over the 2 grooves, you'll notice there is a hill that goes upwards and there will be some jagged terrain with 2 holes in between the terrain. At the bottom of that hill, before you approach the terrain, you want to make sure that you pop your rally. When you get to the bottom of the first hill, you want to jump to the triangle in the middle. Then, once you're on the triangle in the middle, you want to hold right and jump so that you jump to the second half of the triangle, and once you land on the second half of the triangle, it'll propel you forward when you jump again past the crooked terrain. Now, sometimes it can be inconsistent, and depending on your ping, you'll notice that the jumps and the inputs will kind of be delayed. And if you happen to fall within the holes, you need to restart the run and make sure that you get through this part without any mistakes, because the time that you lose from this specific part of the map is a lot. So you want to make sure that when you're doing these jumps, it goes through smoothly. After the jagged terrain, there is going to be a staircase with a booster at the top. Now, before you approach these staircases, I suggest that you turn off your snowshoes so that you can perform a short hop with ease. It is still possible to perform a short hop with snowshoes, but it is a lot harder and the timing is a lot more precise, so I suggest that you just take them off so that your timings are a lot more lenient, because you're going to need to turn off snowshoes when you get to the booster anyways. So when you approach the hill, there is a danger sign that is next to the staircase. There's a little bush that is sticking out of that danger sign, and that's where you're going to take your first jump into the staircase. You're going to hold jump until you get to the 3rd step, let go of your right arrow key, and perform a short hop. So once you get to the 3rd step, let go of your right arrow key and just press jump. That'll get you to the 4th step. Then you hold your right arrow key again and hold jump. When you approach the booster, you want to use your S jump as it's pushing you so that you get pushed into the next part of the map. Now, as you use your S jump to get pushed from that first booster into the next, you want to be careful with your aerial momentum. If you hold right as you're flying in the air, you'll have too much momentum going into the second booster and you won't be able to grab onto a rope. So make sure when you use your S jump from that first booster after the staircase, hold left in the air a little bit so that as you land, your momentum is slightly decreased, so that when you get onto that second booster, it'll throw you onto the last rope in that grid of ropes. So as you're climbing up that rope, you might want to turn your snowshoes back on because you're going to need it for the next segment of the race. When you climb up that rope, you're going to walk to the right until you're just right of the rope that you just climbed, and you're going to jump into the booster that's in the top right of the map. Once you jump into the booster, you're going to hold jump and let go of your arrow key so that there is no influence in the air. If you hold jump and you do this correctly, the booster should launch you past the little maze and the flame trap into a small flat, where you're going to look left and press your dash key so that you can get past that flat as fast as possible. Now, sometimes boosters can be a little inconsistent and launch you in different ways depending on how you jump into it. It can also be inconsistent in terms of your ping, and if your ping is high and your jump input is delayed, it'll launch you into a place where you don't want to go and you have to redo that part of the course. Personally, I would restart if this part of the course is failed, because the time that you lose from failing this skip is a lot, and it'll probably be impossible to get a 1000 score if you fail a skip. After you get past the first boost of the map and dash forward to the end of the lap, you'll notice that there's going to be another segment of jumps. This is where you're going to want to have your snowshoes on, because as you jump between the platforms, you can skip the bottom ones. So you can just get through this part with 3 well-timed jumps to get from the first platform to the third one to the fifth one onto the next booster. Now, as you approach the second and final booster of the course, you want to make sure that you have your snowshoes off again. There is going to be a star and a flame trap beside the booster. So what you want to do is you want to pick up the star and then use your S jump as you approach the booster. Now you want to be careful that you approach the booster when the flame trap is not spitting out flames. The reason for this is because it can mess up the timings for the skip on this specific booster on your S jump if you get hit by the flame trap. So be careful of this. If you time it properly, it'll send you over the maze that exists at the bottom. You'll be able to skate along that platform at the top and just press jump, and it'll launch you into the next segment of the race. So as you skate and jump off from the top, you'll find yourself in a downhill slope approaching an array of platforms. You just want to go to the top end of the platforms and make sure that you're following the path along the top. Once you get to the end of the array of the platforms, it's going to be a little precise. There's going to be a large ice wall and a platform right before it. Once you land on the platform right before the wall, you're going to turn off your snowshoes, jump, and hold left. Once you get past the wall, you're going to hold right as you drop. When you hit the floor, after you jump off that last platform in that platform array, you're going to hold right, and once you hit the floor, you'll hold left to push yourself into the booster that you take from the fall damage. With that fall damage, as you go into the booster, it'll launch you into the last little staircase that you need to finish the course. There's going to be a flame trap timer at the end of the course, so make sure that you're not getting hit by it. This is something that, of course, takes practice. Just try to make sure that you're pushing as close to the end of the staircase without getting hit by the flame trap. Once you know that the flame trap is out, you can jump past the flame trap and finish the course. Then you can rinse and repeat this 3 times and you'll be done the daylight course. I'm going to show you guys what an ideal daylight flag race looks like with where my abilities are being used, just so you guys can get a good idea of how to complete this consistently. And if you're still awake by this point in time, that's pretty much how you do the daylight course. It should be noted that practice makes perfect in this situation. It's not very easy to instantly understand how your character interacts with the mechanics of the game, such as hills and slopes, and the specific abilities and boosters that are within the map. So definitely give it some time before you just throw Flag Race in the garbage bin. So the next course in question is actually the best course out of all three. It's the easiest to get a 1000 score, and it's the shortest course out of all of them. It's the Sunset course. Sunset course has a new mechanic in comparison to the other two races. It has these portals which you enter that take you to a different stage of the map. Now, just like the daylight and the midnight course, before you start, you'll have 10 seconds to prepare and sit in the box. So, funny enough, the Sunset course actually has the exact same start that the daylight course has. But instead of going to the right, you're going to go to the left. So the moment you enter the portal, you're going to put on your snowshoes and you're going to dash to the left. Now, after you dash to the left, you're going to drop into the booster that's below you. And that booster is going to push you into the portal. Now, on your first lap, when you use the dash to go into the booster, you're going to have to jump into the portal, because as the booster launches you into the portal, it'll throw you into the corner, but you won't be in the portal just yet. So you'll have to put an extra input to actually throw your character into the portal so that you can move on to the next stage of the map. Once you enter the teleporter on the left, your character will teleport above to another teleporting station, we'll call them, and it'll drop you into the booster to the right. And there's going to be 2 teleporters on the right and a rope. You need to make sure that you grab onto that rope and go down the rope to drop into the portal below. If you enter the portal on the right, you'll have to repeat the first step again. This is a mistake that causes a lot of time lost, so I suggest that if you make this mistake, you restart the run. So once you take the teleporter down below, you'll be teleported to the right and instantly launched into a wall. There's nothing you can do about this, you kind of just have to wait it out. After you get grounded from being launched into the wall, walk to the left and the ground will launch you to the right into the platform array. Now this is something that's going to take a little bit of practice because you'll need to know how to influence your character's direction in the air to make sure that you land on the platform. And then there's going to be a flame trap on the platform in front. Just be careful when navigating that and enter the portal that's near the flame trap. Then, taking that portal past the flame trap will teleport you to a new terrain of the map, and you'll notice that there's a very large tree. You can jump up that tree. All you need to do is hold right and jump the moment you move a little bit away from that snow block in which you teleported on, and jump up the tree. At the end of the tree, there's going to be a flame trap that blocks you from jumping onto the platform, so just time that properly. There's going to be a little bit of a flat, so make sure that you walk across this flat and jump to the next platform in which there's going to be a teleporter. Note, for this teleporter, you're going to have to press up to actually enter this teleporter. I don't know why this is the case, but you have to press up to enter it. After you enter the teleporter, there's going to be a small staircase, so you're going to want to take off your snowshoes to climb the staircase. Once you get to the top of the staircase, you'll notice that there's another booster on the floor that points upwards. You're going to have to jump into this booster. So once you get to the top of that staircase, jump again while holding right into the booster and then hold left. As you're getting boosted up by the booster, you can turn your snowshoes back on. Then you're going to notice that there's a whole lot of things going on, but you're going to ignore the most of it. There's a 4-platform array that you want to approach, and you're going to jump onto the first platform of that 4-platform array with your S jump and make your way to the booster that's at the top left. Once you land on the platform with the booster at the top left, you're going to continue holding jump and left as you approach the booster so that the booster can launch you into the hill. The moment that you land on the hill, you're going to press your dash, walk forward a little bit, and press your rally. Then you'll notice that there's 3 platforms at the end of the course. The second to last platform has a flame trap on it. So you're going to jump onto the first platform, as you normally would, then jump onto the second, assuming that there's no flames, so that you don't get knocked off the platform. And you're going to skip the third platform with the increased movement speed to get to the final stretch of the race. It is a little bit of a precise jump, and if you do make this mistake, the run's not over, but you need to play a lot better for the rest of the race for this run to be a 1000 race. And now you just rinse and repeat for the second and the third lap, but note you won't have your dash at the beginning of the second and the third lap. So what you can do is there is a sign at the entrance of the sunset course, and if you jump and hold left on the left side of the pole of that sign, you'll actually be able to land perfectly on the booster, and it'll push you into the portal without having to give the extra input to actually enter that portal. Besides that, everything about the second and the third lap is the same as the first. Last and most certainly the least, we have the nighttime flag race. In order to achieve a perfect score, you need a time of 2 minutes and 29 seconds. The reason why this flag race is the most infuriating is because its timings are a lot more precise, and there are a lot of jumps that rely on you having low ping and very low delay on your inputs. A lot of the jumps that exist in this flag race are skips and boosts that push you to the next part of the map. And if your internet or if your ping is not working as usual, you'll notice that you'll lose a lot of time in this race. Now, this race also is the most lenient because of the amount of skips that exist in this race. So if a mistake or two is made in a lap, it's okay, you can continue and still try to achieve a perfect score. So to start the night flag race, in typical flag race fashion, you're going to equip your snowshoes, but this time you won't use the dash, you'll use the rally instead, and you'll know why in just a few seconds. And with the rally, you're going to run up the hill that the race starts out with, and then you're going to see a staircase and this little pit on the right. So what you're going to do is there's this little groove in the floor that you use as a way to jump into the pit. You'll end up near the first step of the staircase, but you're not going to go up the staircase. Instead, you're going to jump to the right into that snow block, turn off your snowshoes as you come into contact with the snow block, and use your S jump at the same time, and that'll send you flying over the staircase. The reason why you want to turn off your snowshoes is because after the staircase, there's a terrain where you want to skate down the entirety of it and press jump. It'll propel you to the next platform. After you land on that platform, you want to turn on snowshoes as soon as you can. There's then going to be one more groove in the floor, and then a hill with a step in between and a hole after that that you need to jump over. So what you're going to do here is you're going to jump over the last groove, get to a specific spot, and use your dash to bypass the step within the hill. Then after that, all you need to do is jump past the hole and hold jump so that you can get the momentum boost after the terrain. Once you pass the hills, you will be greeted by our good old friend, the staircase. This staircase only has 4 steps, so you're going to hop the first 2. I'll highlight where you want to take your first jump. You'll short hop the 3rd, and then you'll hold left and jump from that point on, even into the booster. That'll propel you to the left, and you'll grab the first rope and climb upwards. Now, once again, this can be a little inconsistent, and sometimes you'll be shot to the bottom of the rope, sometimes you'll jump, and you'll get sent to the top of the rope. If you do miss the jump, it's roughly around a 3 to 4 second loss, so it's not a big deal if this happens, but if you are on a run that isn't the greatest and this happens, you might want to restart. After you climb up the rope, you'll be greeted with a platform array. Now, the first 2 platforms at the bottom right, you can actually climb using 1 jump. After that, you won't be able to do it, so you'll need to zigzag left and right. Once you get to the second highest platform in the middle, you're going to use your S jump to skip the last 2 jumps so that you can approach the second platform array. The next platform array is now entirely horizontal, and you notice that there's 3 flame traps in the middle. Only one of them can really hit you because you're going to gun straight through the middle. You're going to ignore the platforms below and well time your jumps to get through the middle as quickly as possible. After you get through the array, you'll land on a platform with a booster right in front of you. So you're going to continue holding jump and continue holding right. Once the booster launches you into the maze, all you're going to have to do from that point on is hold a jump. Now, this is a part of where RNG can really be a thing, depending on your ping or how delayed your input is. You could just get not launched and lose a lot of time in this maze. But assuming that it all goes well, you hold jump, it launches through to the right, then to the left, and then back to the right. Now, you want to have snowshoes off for this segment of the map, because essentially, after you get launched the last time, you're going to skate forward a little bit until you're at the edge of the platform and hold right as you jump into the air. Now, you don't want to hold your right arrow key as you're skating close to the edge of the platform. You need to make sure that you're not inputting a direction until you are in the air. And that should bypass the 3 platforms and get you right past the flame trap so that you can progress to the next part of the map. So once you finish the maze skip, you're going to jump onto the platform with the danger sign and pop rally. Move forward a little bit and get onto the hill. Once you get to the big hill, you're going to use your dash to get up it as fast as possible. And then there's going to be a horizontal platform array. You're going to use platforms 1, 3, and 5 to get through it as fast as possible. And then you'll end up on a small platform with a star and a spike at the end of the platform. So the moment that you come into contact with a star, you're going to hold jump and right so that you can jump into the spike and take recoil damage. You'll continue holding jump and right, and that'll send you flying with the recoil damage onto the platform where the last booster is. And then we come to the last skip, which will send you to the final staircase in the race. Now, there's no real timing for this one because your nameplate kind of just covers the floor, so you can't really like line it up with a groove or anything. So you kind of just walk right, have your snowshoes on, jump into the booster while holding right and jump, and Hail Mary that it sends you onto the platform that's at the top left. Assuming that you're holding right and jump, you'll be able to jump from the top left platform to the top middle platform, and then you just shimmy around to the last step and complete the course from there. Rinse and repeat 2 more times. But for your second and third lap, you won't have rally in the beginning, so the timing will change when you first jump into that little pit in the beginning. But other than that, the lap is the exact same. And that's pretty much it for this video. I know that it's nothing new in terms of like flag tutorials and that kind of thing, but the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I kind of wanted to just compile a one-stop shop for all of your information on Maplestory and how to attain them and maximize them for your guild. Yeah, hopefully it was informative. Remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thanks. Much love.